right. Now, where is Seattle now? Colorado not only legalized pot, but they got their stores out there. What is it, 1,000 stores or so, and they're making money, and they're making all kinds of surprisingly amount of new tax revenue from the sale of pot. Yeah. And Washington State hasn't put it into action
They'll
yet.
catch up rather quickly.
Think so?
Yeah. They're just in the final stages of putting together their policy and all the details of their policy regarding the regulation pieces, and they'll roll it out relatively soon, I think within the next month or two. I expected it to be by April, but a little behind.
Yeah. It is more complicated than people think.
Oh, it is.
There was a New Yorker story about what's happening in Washington State, where you have to decide how much you're going to sell it for, who gets a license to sell it, where it's sold, and what law enforcement does about it, for example, and all those things.
But see, here's the thing, and I have absolutely no problem with them taking their time. While out there, I met with the city attorney from Seattle, Pete Holmes, and when they passed the law, over a year ago, immediately Pete Holmes just wiped everything clean from the books of the prosecutor's office, for cases, possession cases, So the good thing is no one's getting arrested. Okay.
I see. So
no one's going to jails, prison, but they're taking their time with the policy and making sure that it's right where they want it, and making sure that the police are up to speed and that they're trained and they know exactly what they can do and what they can't do. And I think it's important. So I have no problem with what they're doing.
All right. So Colorado and Washington State have moved. Can Maryland be far behind?
I sure hope not.
Where are we in the state of Maryland?
Well, where we are this year, and the session ends midnight tonight. So we had two main bills, a tax and regulate bill, and we had a decriminalization bill. That went through the legislature this year. So tax and regulate didn't make it, but the good thing about that, last year we had 4 co-sponsors on the tax and regulate bill. This year we had 32.
Whoa.
So that was a big
tax
step.
and regulate would basically be legalization.
Yeah. Like Colorado and Washington, similar. So, that was that's a success story.
Sure.
Okay. We didn't expect it to go, but what we wanted to go was decrim. Okay, so we're no longer arresting people, and I think the policy, I haven't seen the exact wording for the policy, but I think it's going to be 10 grams or less. You won't be arrested. Maximum of $100 fine, civil penalty, and that's what we're going to end up with in Maryland. It's already gone through the Senate. The House moved it through over the weekend, despite the opposition from the chair of the Judiciary Committee. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, that says a lot. So now we'll just need the signature of the governor.
I was going to say the House and Senate have done it, so it's up to the governor.
It's up to the governor.
Has the governor taken a public position on the issue?
Well, he's taken a public position on tax and regulate, no.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard anything regarding decrim. So I guess I'm sure that our wonderful media folks are trying to find out that answer right now.
I would think so. And also for Martin O'Malley, who, by the way, I think he's done a great job as governor. He has certainly some ambitions for 2016 in the Democratic primary.
If he's smart, he'll sign it.
He's so smart, he'll sign
he'll
it.
Sign
exactly,
it.
Right.
Yeah, if he's looking at polling numbers as it relates to decrim, those polling numbers are very, very high across the country. I believe well above 70%.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And do you know how much time he has? A month or so? I forget. For governor to make up his mind.
I'm not sure. Once the session ends tonight, I'm not sure. But I'm sure that he's going to be receiving a lot of emails, a lot of letters, and a lot of phone calls from people.
So what do you see around the country? Are other states moving toward either decrim or tax and regulate?
Absolutely. Well, right here in D.C., they just passed the decrim bill. So let's look at tax and regulate, because that's really where I'm from. That's where LEAP is from, and that's what we believe needs to happen. We know it needs to happen in order for us to reduce crime, violent crime, and so on. So, Alaska. Keep your eye on Alaska. Keep your eye on Oregon.
By the way, you just got to say Alaska. There's such independent frontier up there, living in their own world. I mean, why wouldn't they do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
But do they have actual laws up there that they still abide by? Or is it
any laws, right?
Dodge City out there.
Well, my question is, Is there a long enough growing season in Alaska to grow their own, or do they have to import it?
Well, greenhouses work
I was gonna
wonderfully.
say, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
okay.
you know,
Yes,
from what I've seen, that's
right.
where the best marijuana is grown. That's where the best cannabis is grown.
And you would know.
Even in states where we have great growing seasons, because you can control, you know, the pollen, and you can, you know, it's a very controlled atmosphere. This is a skill, you know, in growing good cannabis.
It's a big business too, and I think, if I'm correct, in Colorado, only pot grown in greenhouses can be sold in the dispensaries there. I think
that's right. There was Rolling Stone did a great big piece. This was several months ago now, but right as the Colorado thing was ramping up, and the guys and ladies who are growing marijuana out there now are pure artisans, right? I mean, we would look at them the same way that we do, you know, these artisan coffee roasters or things like that. I mean, they take it very, very, very
proud
seriously
of what they do.
And the stereotype of the slacker stoner is slowly dying off with these people who know what they're doing. They take it very seriously. They work very hard at it.
They're like micro brews.
It's exactly
That's
right.
it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
I mean, they're
All right, so you mentioned
people.
Alaska.
Come over to the East Coast. Keep your eye on Rhode Island. I look at most of your New England states. I keep an eye on most of them, like maybe.
I know Maine is thinking about it, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, Maine is. I don't know if their governor is there yet, but obviously the people are definitely there.
Right.
You know, a couple other states up there. Connecticut, I'm not sure yet, but they've always been rather progressive in this area. So this whole Northeast region, I'd keep an eye on the entire Northeast, really.
Wow.
But yeah, so I think, and I'm talking about over the next 2 years, between now and 2016. After 2016, depending upon, and so much is going to happen between now and then, I don't even think it matters regarding who's going to be in the White House.
No kidding, yeah. I think California, too, will be coming on.
California,
I've
2016.
voted for it at least twice in California. Give us another shot and we'll get it passed, you know. Right.
Yeah. They'll be there in 2016,
and
for sure.
You had a very interesting finding among law enforcement with a poll that you conducted recently at LEAP. So it's not just the general populace that has swung in terms of public opinion about cannabis. It's the law enforcement officials as well, right?
Yeah. Lawofficer.com did a poll on with law officers about marijuana, legalization, decrim, and asked some basic questions about, you know, what do they feel we should do in those areas. And overwhelmingly, the majority of our police officers believe that we should end end the prohibition of marijuana and move towards legalization. They realize that it doesn't work. And I'm certain that most of the people who responded to this poll are the men and women who are in the trenches, the ones who are out in the communities, in the neighborhoods, fighting this war. And they would much rather spend their time going after pedophiles, you know, people committing crimes against our children, rapists, you know, dealing with domestic violence, dealing with assaults and robberies. You know, that's police work.
Yeah.
You know, that's protecting people from people. And that's what we should be doing.
And not protecting them from themselves,
absolutely,
right? And getting a little enjoyment or relaxation or
absolutely.
whatever.
But we hold people responsible for what they do. You know, if they happen to be under the influence of something just like alcohol, which is our most problematic drug of all time. You know, when it comes to policing and law enforcement.
I think it's very powerful and should be very telling to people to elected officials, that if the law enforcement community, well, the numbers I saw were pretty striking there, Major. 66% in that survey saying marijuana possession, this is of law enforcement officers, 66% marijuana possession should be legalized, decriminalized, or legalized for medical reasons, or illegal but only punished with fines.
Right.
I mean, so...
That's a sky-high number.
No. That is 2/3 of law enforcement officers are saying the current system doesn't work.
That polling, rank and file, folks working in the trenches. Now, what we saw in Annapolis, you know, over the past couple of months, law enforcement came out in opposition of both legalization and decriminalization, but it wasn't the rank and file. It was
Oh. Really?
the Sheriff's Association and Maryland Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay, and their main issue, and this really does not sit so well with me. Their main issue was that it would drastically affect their ability to search people.
Ooh.
See, most of the searches that we
really?
do
Yeah. Huh. To see if they.
rest squarely upon marijuana violations. And, you know, so that takes me to this place of the Fourth Amendment, you know, and what we use in law enforcement to get into your pockets and into your car and into your homes. And I think it's wrong. It's just wrong.